Hey guys, so as I am waiting for my hair to air dry and fluff up, and I'm waiting for my ride so I can go on the road, I'm just loving how my social calendar is like filling up. Love that for me, but that is not what I'm here to talk about. So something happened to me yesterday and I want to tell y'all about it. It was not weird, it was not strange, it was not out of the norm, but I want to tell y'all about it. But first, let me give you a bit of a history. So I've suffered from migraines since I was like a preteen. Shortly after that, after the onset of the migraines, I was diagnosed with epilepsy. I talk more about that in another video, so I won't talk too much about that in this video. But I have suffered from migraines for basically my whole entire life. So the only correlation between the migraines and the epilepsy is that a lot of the medication that they use to treat epilepsy, they also use to treat migraines. So since I started taking the epilepsy medication, the migraines have subsided. All right, so that's that. So yesterday, left the house at about 10 o'clock in the morning. And we were out all day. My church is having a tent evangelistic series. So I was out all day. Basically 12 hours, from 10 a.m. to about 10 p.m. It was the last day of the evangelistic series. So the service, we call it Divine Hour Service. The Divine Hour Service ran long. So church ended about 2 o'clock. I would say I got my lunch about 2:30, 3 o'clock. Shortly after I got my lunch, I noticed that I was starting to get a headache. That's my first mistake right there. What I should have done when I noticed a headache was coming on was take something. And I know that because if I don't nip that headache in the bud from the onset of it, that's it. That is it. All right. It came on swiftly, but it was mild. So I kind of just hoped that by drinking water and having the lunch, I actually thought that having the lunch would help. Although it happened after lunch, I figured that maybe because I hadn't had breakfast, maybe, it was a gas headache. Jamaicans believe in that. So I hoped that it would subside. So this is like 4 o'clock now. 5 o'clock, it was starting to worsen. So I asked the people around me if they had painkillers. Someone said, the person next to me said they had Advil. And somebody behind me said they had paracetamol, which was something from England. So I just let them duke it out and whoever gave me what they had first, I took it. And it was a lady with the paracetamol. So she gave me the whole pack, and it's in like, I don't know, like the gum that you have to press out? It was in like a pack like that. So I'm reading it to see how many milligrams it is. I can't tell. All right, that should be better. Then the camera will stop shaking. All right, so she must have understood what I was looking for, because she said each capsule is 500 milligrams. So I said, not to her, but the lady beside her, should I take 1 or 2? Now, I can easily take 1,500 milligrams because I suffer from migraines. I know, I need a lot if it's gonna actually stop the headache. But the person next to her, who obviously doesn't suffer from migraines, she was like, 500 is more than enough. And I didn't want anybody thinking like I'm strung out on pain meds. So I just took the 500. And also because I'm not familiar with that medication. So I'm like, all right, let me, just do as I'm told, because I don't want to create a situation now where I overdose on English medication and now I have to be carried out in an ambulance. All right. And then, oh Lord, have a rumor started about me. So, all right, that's that. I won't say that my headache got better, but at that point, it didn't seem like it was getting any worse. So, you know, you kind of get into what's going on and you kind of forget about it. Again, the service went long, as it is the last day. They got to do their thank yous. They got to do this. They got to do that. But by about 8:30, I'm like, ooh, that headache is intensifying. So I started to say, okay, let me ask somebody for more pain meds. But I'm like, it's the same group of people. Still, don't want anyone to think that I am addicted to pain meds. So I did not ask. I sat there and I literally feel the headache intensifying. And I'm thinking in my mind, yo, this is going to be bad. But I'm like, okay, this should be over soon. I can get home, take my own meds. And you're probably thinking, as someone who suffers from migraines, I should probably keep something in my bag. But like I said, because the epilepsy meds typically works for the migraines, this happens probably 3, 4, 5 times at most a year now. All right, so church is going on, and by this time, it feels like there is a marching band and a drum corps in my head. I'm trying to make it through because I've been going through this evangelistic series. Even when I was on vacation, I was watching it online. So I want to be there for the finale. Church finally ended, you know, they're picking up the chairs. People are coming over to me. I'm talking. It's like, I'm a person who lingers. I linger after events and I say hi, I say bye. I want to know about current events. I want to know what's going on in people's lives. I'm that person. But like, I'm starting to feel nauseous at this point. I'm nauseous. Like, I'm seeing doubles. There's a lot happening. Like, I know it's probably my best bet to leave, but it's like, I can't get out of what I want to do. All right, finally, that happens. Call my Uber, get home. You know, like when you get home and your body realizes you're home and you have to now go to the bathroom and pee? As soon as I turned the key in the door, it's like my body shut down. It's like I couldn't function anymore. Although for some reason I was still able to record my YouTube video about serene herbs. But it's like, after that, that was it. I have a table at the front door. I stripped naked, threw my clothes down at the front door. And typically I would, you know, especially after a long day outdoors, I will, you know, even if I don't give my son a thorough bath, I will at least rinse him off because he's a kid. He gets into everything. All I could do, I personally couldn't even strip his clothes off. I'm like, son, I need you to help me. So he took his clothes off and I couldn't even put him in his pajamas. I had to just leave him in his underwear. Luckily, he's a nudist like me. He didn't care. Now, I had already planned to like leave him, which actually reminds me, I should probably throw some pills in my bag before I go. I had already planned to allow him to spend some extra time on his iPad since we spent the whole day at church. But I laid down in that bed and I just crashed out. I did take 2 extra strength Excedrin and I just crashed out. When I woke up, it was 2 a.m. and it was like nothing happened. I felt great. I felt fine. The only thing is now I couldn't go back to sleep, which was weird because I never have a problem falling asleep. So when I did fall back asleep, it was like 5 a.m. But now I'm trying to figure out what happened. I do have a history of high blood pressure. High blood pressure does run in my family. And I did go into premature labor with my son due to preeclampsia. So I remember I said that, or you'll remember I said that right after lunch, onset of a headache. So I'm wondering if the food that I ate from the church had a high sodium content and then that triggered something. Or it just could have been one of those random events. So I guess my question now for those who suffer from migraines is, what do you do to either prevent migraines, stop migraines before they escalate, or if they've escalated, to de-escalate them, stop them, whatever the case may be? I know when I was living in a basement apartment, I would lay on the floor. I had a bed, I had a couch, but something about the cold floor. Now, there was like a little thin carpet, which really was just for aesthetics. Like the cold floor did something to me. I also don't know if gravity played an issue, because I feel as though laying on the floor helps me more than laying on my bed. But cold and floor. Ice, I guess an ice pack helps somewhat, but being on a cold surface on my stomach helps so much. Like I said before, I have to sleep it off. Yes, there are times when I can just take pain medicine, but that's if I get it before it hits level 10. If I take pain meds when it's at level 10, like when it's blinding, like when I can't see, I have to go lay down. Like, just taking the pain meds and continuing to function, that's not a thing for me once it's up there. That's like a level 2 to 5. Like 6 to 10, I have to go lay down. So my question to you is, like I said, what do you do for chronic migraine sufferers, and what do you recommend? People, people from back home, they swear by, home remedies. Do you have home remedies? Because having a headache is not a good feeling. Obviously, people with high blood pressure will say, limit your salt intake. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's not something I'm good at. I like high salt food, high sodium content food, but I gotta do better. I definitely gotta do better. I don't want to be on blood pressure meds in addition to all my other stuff. So where do we stand now? Well, first and foremost, as you can see, my hair is fluffing up. It's still not, fully dry, but it's getting there. I love the volume, but that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. So when I went to bed at 5 a.m., I noticed that I felt like a twinge of a headache coming back. But because I wasn't going anywhere, because my intention was to go to sleep, I said, all right, let me lay down, see if I can fall asleep. And I'm not going to take any medication. I'm going to see how this plays out. And if necessary, I'll take something in the morning. It is the next day. It is about noon. And I haven't taken anything yet, but I have put some Excedrin in my bag. I do think I will have a headache later, because that's how this thing plays out sometimes. Like, I can have a headache for 3 to 5 to 7 days straight. It won't be as intense as the first day. This is kind of mild. If it stays this way, I may not need to take any meds. Like, for example, if it stays like this, I probably won't take anything. If it goes up just a tad, only because I'm going to be out, I will probably take something. I don't know what's causing it. It could be stress-induced. That's another thing. I get stress-induced migraines. So I'm still open to suggestions. I'm hopeful to hear something that will work for me to stop breakthrough migraines.